Hey everybody, we are actually
Well, I've been sitting here on this dock by the bay, watching my blue skies turn to gray. Didn't know if I should run or stay, so I pulled up Mike's weather page, 'cause Mike's weather page, you know he's got the news to keep you safe. Mike's weather page is only a click or two away. Well, I admit that I had one or a few, 'cause I was down and I was feeling blue. But then I clicked on Mike's fan page. I saw all my friends now, I'm okay. 'Cause Mike's weather page, you know he's got the news to keep you safe. Mike's weather page is only a click or two away. We all know Mike's a real fun guy. He'll track the storms as they blow by. But when the drunk donkey comes out to play, Miss Julie, take his phone away. 'Cause Mike's weather page, you know he's got the news to keep you safe. Mike's weather page is only a click or two away.
Not sure what the gusts are, but
well, there's Louie and
definitely,
no telling what they're gonna do.
I think we're
you know
seeing a little
he's
higher gusts.
got more than 1 million fans. Yeah, 'cause now Mike's weather page, you know he's got the
Trying to keep the camera from getting away.
Mike's weather page is only a click or two away. Mike's weather page, you know he's got the news to keep you safe. Mike's weather page is only a click or two away.
Yeah. All right, what's up? With the headlight looking at you. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. I think I'm going to move my counter. I don't like it right there. Let's move it for tomorrow. Let's put it right here. That way, people can read the chat. I'm going to put it right there. How's that? Cool. Change is coming tomorrow. With a brand new look. All right. Well, good morning. How about them Rays, Eric? Yeah, I saw that one. We got a lot of people popping in. Let's say today's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Louis Day. So we will start the day out with Louis. Hope everybody's doing great. It's midweek here in Oldsmar. Woke up to Monday with the radar, and we had rain off the Gulf Coast. We had rain off the Gulf Coast yesterday. Not today, down the Keys, a little bit down the Keys. A little more dry out there. There is rain expected we'll get into. Tropics are above my head. Louis sleeping kind of like the tropics are. Talking a lot about the heat. Got my power bill. Oh my God, I think I'm going to ABC. Power bill, it skipped the $500 range and went straight to $600. I don't know how that even is possible. We have had a July here in Florida on the West Coast with no rain. We are below average rainfall in West Central Florida, and that means one thing. We've had a lot more sunshine than normal, which means AC conditioners are running overtime. And I can't work in a hot house, so we just have to deal with it. I swear the last 3 or 4 years we never went over 300. It was 300, 330. Then earlier this year we started hitting 400 range. I'm like, what? And then July was like, let's just skip 500, go straight to 600. Oh, always something. Well, anyway, here we are in the Daily Brew. Our Daily Brew is where we talk tropics, talk weather. Everybody says hello. It's our little get-together. It's our virtual coffee shop. where we bring our dogs and we bring our coffee. So welcome. Thanks to ABC Fine Wine and Spirits for being a big supporter of Mike's Weather Page. Going on their 5th year now, 5 years, half a decade of support. That's worth popping into their store and supporting. And that's my all-time favorite picture. Palm trees, blue sky, American flag, and ABC. Fine Wine and Spirits. All right, let's pull this one up real quick. This is Tropics. That's all we got. What's going on? So yeah, everybody's talking about their power. I know. Jeez. House is almost 600, Shelly. Jeez. What's up, Miss Nancy Powers? Louie in the house. Brian says hello. MT Mate's got a brand new ABC coming. That's cool. New ones are nice. They'll usually do an opening with like a wine tasting or a. It's more than wine. I don't know. It's awesome. All the vendors show up. It's like $10. You get to walk around the store and try free samples. It's amazing. So if they do that, make sure you do it. MT. That's right, Jim Major. Electric bills will drive you to ABC. And that's Brian brings up the good point. AC start freezing up. We went into our local Chili's the other night. It was hot. It was the first time ever the AC was struggling here in Oldsmar. You can't keep running. They freeze up. If you freeze up your coils, man, you got a lot of problems. You got to figure out a way to cool them or warm them up. But that usually means you're low on Freon or something. So, good morning, Mary from Miami Springs. Ben, what's up? Good morning. Richard, good morning. Tiffany, $800. Jeez, you're probably like me. I keep it at 73 in the day and 70 at night. Just the way it goes. Solar panels might be cool, Coaster. Yeah, I've been reading a lot. I'm worried that if we go to solar, then I don't know, things change. I don't know. Nothing's ever too good to be true, man. I've learned over my 49 years of wisdom. Oh, here comes a yawn. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Audrey from Palm Bay. Kiki, what's up? Jessica, yeah, you're like me, 73. I'm just stubborn. I got to keep the house cool. Can't work in a warm house. Probably need better windows, but my God, you could pay 50, 60 grand on windows. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Windows? 50 grand for windows? What's the world coming to? What's up? Is it Jack from Treasure Coast or Jock? What's up, James? You're over there on YouTube today. Hey, I put some highlights out, buddy. Check out Emily. Here comes another yawn, I think. Nope. Oh, we got weather to talk about, believe it or not. I'm going to talk about some long-range tropics watching here. It's got my attention. And then we're going to talk about El Nino for Florida. I did some posts about the southeast and Florida with El Nino. Always getting the question, what does El Nino mean? So I found some really good graphics put out by the National Weather Service that kind of describe things, what to expect. What do you think? You go, boy. All right. Leslie wants to know, what do I think this year with hurricanes? Well, all I keep seeing, long-range forecasts, UK model, Euro model, human models, everybody's saying it's going to be above average. Time is ticking. August 2nd. Waters are hot. It's coming. Got to be ready. Oh, Jennifer, can't think of El Nino without thinking of Chris Farley. I know. That was the old Weather Channel graphic, too, remember? I am El Nino. All right, so this is Invest 96. We've been talking about it. So there's been, what, 2 National Hurricane Center areas that were red that didn't materialize. So the 7-day outlooks are getting a little tricky here because this was at red also at one time. And now it's not. So who knows? It's down to 10%. A lot of wind shear out there, dry air. So it doesn't look like it's going to do anything. Even if it did anything, it wouldn't really matter. It's going east of Bermuda. But I still have all the graphics on the webpage, Invest 96. You want to see spaghetti models and stuff. That's where it's going. Nowhere. You're going nowhere. Here's radar, by the way. Had a little bit of action down in the Keys earlier. We had some marine warnings. Kind of an old frontal line down there. Look at that. Excuse me, down in Bahamas. A little bit of rain in the New Orleans area. Is that a frontal line officially? Did I make it that far south? Not really. Kind of. Yeah, you can kind of argue some of that might be frontal line. But that's it. Radar's quiet. Rain today, then we're going to get right into the tropics. Thought this was interesting. It's a rain map for today. So we'll show some future radar, but I saw this yesterday. We got a little bit of a wind shift here. The high pressure is sliding away just a little bit. A little more rains for central and west coast of Florida today. You can see that. So we might have thunderstorms later today that develop more inland towards the west coast. And then we got a big old blob here in the middle part of the U.S. That's been talked about. Shared that last night. So they got some heavy rain, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches possible. That could be significant. They have a flood alert today right here in red. So that's the only weather in town today. That area kind of pushes itself southeast tomorrow, bringing some rain to Tennessee area tomorrow. Long range looking though, this is kind of what we got. Let's take a look at things. All right, so as you know, we tease a lot on our Brew Crew. We have a Brew Crew area for supporters of the page that like to tip us and, you know, help support everything we do here, which we really appreciate it. And I've been teasing this area that we got more support overnight. So looking long range is what we do here. There's nothing officially to worry about, but this is what we're going to talk about in a second. Rosemary, good morning. Candy, what's up? Somebody from Texas. Who's from Texas? I love Texas. Howdy from Lake Monticello, Virginia. And that's pretty cool. I remember Shenandoah Valley growing up, driving there and seeing that pretty valley in between the mountains. Lisa said her electric bill's very high. I agree. Nice. Hey, thanks, Tom. Nice Axios article. Yes, that was nice of them to reach out. That was pretty cool. All right. Well, we'll get right into it. Yeah, hey, Eric, by the way, oh, man, thank goodness the Rays are back at it, man. They were booing the Yankees last night. I feel bad. So, you know, we're doing it later today. Look at this. So, it is a time-honored tradition here in Pinellas County that the seniors paint their parking spots. So, Emily is a big water nut like me, and she wants to do the turtle from Nemo. So we are going to Lowe's to buy paint, and I have to somehow sketch that little guy right there. So I bought some sidewalk chalk, and I'm like, I could do it. I'm gonna do it. I was a good artist back in the day, back in when I was a kid. Well, I still am a kid, but so that's what we'll be doing later. We'll be painting. I hate painting, but anything from my Emily, right? So that'll be fun. I'll show you the finished product. That right now it's nothing. It was last year's whoever had this parking spot last year, we had to paint over it. So we're heading up to Lowe's. Lowe's is an official supplier of Furman power equipment, by the way. That's why we only go to Lowe's, because they sell all Furman generators. Okay, so everything's quiet. Let's talk about this. All right, so middle of next week. All right, so there is growing support here. I'm going to talk about El Nino in a little bit, so I don't want to lose any of my graphics, because I got some graphics up. If you're from the southeast of Florida, stick around. We're going to talk heavily about El Nino coming up in the winter. We did some homework this morning. So we talked about this Monday. We talked about this Tuesday. Here it is Wednesday. Continued model consistency of a wave coming off of Africa that is getting more and more support that we could see development as it nears the Caribbean this time next week. Who is this? So if we go 7 days away from today, which is Wednesday, so by this time next week, we could be seeing a wave starting to develop somewhere around the middle Atlantic, which means it's almost fixing to pop off of the coast. We'll look at more stuff here in a little bit. But what's got my attention, and I'm kind of ready to start talking about it on the main pages, but we'll see. I hate to cry wolf too many times. All the haters come out. I love it. But what we're seeing here is growing support of 10 days from now that this thing could be passing the Caribbean. So if we got any same timing as yesterday, we've talked about this. But middle part of next week, maybe Thursday-ish, we're going to start to see a wave approaching the islands. These waves come out off like clockwork. And as a matter of fact, somebody posted yesterday, and I meant to verify it, but you can really start to see the African activity picking up. Not so much this morning, but yesterday there was about 3 or 4 of them coming across this Africa, which all comes across and ends up in the Atlantic. So not as strong as I thought it would be today. But here is what the Euro's showing. So what is interesting is it's keeping this west-northwest trajectory. And, you got to remember there's 51 members of the Euro. So it doesn't, it's not 100% support. But, we're seeing 20% chances that we're going to see maybe some development and the possibility this thing keeps on kind of going towards continental U.S. So, unfortunately, there's no consistency as far as direction. We have Texas all the way to the East Coast, but the main point is this: wave middle of next week, Thursday-ish, Friday-ish, into the next weekend, it starts to develop possibly. So, definitely interesting for sure. That's a lot of strong members. Remember, anything red is 960 to 970 range millibar, which is hurricane. Even the blues are hurricane, just a little bit weaker. All right, so that's that. What was yesterday's 12Z? I didn't even look. A little less like yesterday. See, that's why it's hard to really go all in yet. But I was a little surprised last night to see that many Euro ensembles really starting to show development. Now, the timing would be, all right, let's say it was going to happen. Timing for at least the U.S., continental U.S., because I know we got people down in Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. They're like, hey, what about us? I already talked about the timing there. That would be probably like Thursday-ish. So when I say 30-ish, it could be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. But timing for continental U.S. would be the following weekend, 13th here. So that's this is basically 11 days away. So it's safe to start talking about it a little bit. 10 days away. 11 days, 12 days. So there you go. Let's look at some GFS ensembles. It's been all over it, kind of pretty much too. Big factors, of course, is going to be dusty, dry air. We looked at that yesterday. We'll look at it today here. A lot of it's going to be placement of high pressure system. We looked at that yesterday. We'll look at it again today. For steering currents, remember yesterday we were tracking high pressure and kind of building a little bit. This should be a little higher actually. It'd be more like, well, let's just start over. High pressure building in kind of like that, which would allow more of a west-northwest pull. But the GFS ensembles here are showing 7 days from now would be nearing the Caribbean. And then a little window of opportunity where some of these develop it as it enters the Western Atlantic, maybe 1 or 2 down the Caribbean. But you can see the overall blend of thinking from the GFS. Here's overnight 00Z 7 days, 10 days, 12 days. So definitely worth talking about. You know, the general trend has been more of a fanning out like that. Western Atlantic, I don't need to say it again. That's been my number one hot spot for this season if people ask me predictions. But you have better luck flipping coins trying to predict the tropics. Right, Hunter? By the way, still no warranty. What's the name of this company? Assuron. You can assure that if you're with Assuron, you're not going to get any type of customer support. I spent $49.99. I can say that. That's my opinion. So anyway, there you go. Overnight GFS ensembles showing that. So man, there's nothing more to say other than that area is still, middle of next week. This is the bottom line. 7 days from today, we could see a wave out there in the Atlantic. These are endpoints at 7 days. These are the tracks leading up to 7 days. So these are pretty much where it could be next Wednesday. And I'll do a WD. Hey, what about Pee Wee Herman? Any of y'all grew up watching Pee Wee Herman? I did. Pee Wee Playhouse. I watched it. He died yesterday. He was an odd character. Anybody see the moon last night? T. Martinez says, yeah, it was a full moon. There's some pretty wild pictures floating around the internet. Mr. Jason Sutton. What's up, buddy? Hey, Sutton, look, I got your pen right here, man. They send me all this cool gear. I even got a mouse pad. This is not as cool as my Hooters one, though. We're staying in Orlando this week for a big softball tournament. There's a Hooters across the street. I'm going to see if they got the Hooters mouse pad, because they strategically placed the gel that your hand leans on, kind of like a photo of a waitress. You know what I mean? Jason, you're popping all over the place. You're on Facebook and YouTube. What do you like? Got 15 monitors up? Oh, God. Pee Wee Herman on Saturday morning. My God. I just remember that growing up. Somehow we went from Mr. Rogers to Pee Wee. Sturgeon moon. Yeah, very red moon. A lot of that was probably dust and smoke in a lot of areas. Everybody watch Pee Wee's on the week. Yeah, that's sad, man. We're all getting older. I was very shocked to hear he was, as old as he was, considering he looked young when I used to watch him. Now we're all, jeez, 43 inches. I didn't even bother showering today because we're going to go paint. I hate painting. Gotta hate painting. All right, so that's what we're watching. Wednesday of next week, we can see a wave coming there. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm just, again, surprised at the Euro. If the 12Z Euro continues on this track, then we're going to talk about it. Here's 7 days on the Euro. Doesn't have as much. Oh, geez. I just went to the end. Oh, my God. I just did it again. I hate these little bars. I have to go around the bars. All right. Did I say bars? So there's Wednesday of next week for the Euro. So, middle of next week, we're looking at something right here. But what's very interesting, like I said, the Euro getting pretty aggressive on some pretty strong storms. A couple of them scary strong, like sub 950 millibar. That's obviously major. So, yeah, just enough to point it out. So we do here in the Daily Brew. Nothing's official. Remember, I'm not an official meteorologist. Always refer to National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service. I've been going long range looking my whole online social media world. We talk trends. We talk about, looking ahead. Then I shift gears. When we have a system, we talk about effects and likely tracks, conditions, what to expect. But this far out, we just look at model consistency. Thus, the name Spaghetti Models. I think the local Mets that don't like me, or any Mets, they call them spaghetti plots just to make me mad. They're like, we'll show him. We'll just call it spaghetti plots instead of models. I made a website one time with my buddy Dennis Phillips. He always called them pasta plots. So I actually bought the domain pasta plots, and I made my page, instead of spaghetti models, we called it pasta plots. Somebody owns pasta plots now. It sounds kind of sexier than spaghetti models. Pasta plots and spaghetti models. That'd be cool too. Names of a drink if you had a bar. Spaghetti model and pasta plots. It would be Italian based. Like a Bloody Mary. All right, so let's look at operational runs. Do any operational runs show this yet? We always look at ensembles for areas to watch. Now we're going to go to tropical tidbits. Then I'm going to talk about El Nino. I'm very surprised about El Nino. Because of winter effects. All right, so we're going to look at the tropicaltidbits.com. Blue areas are low pressure. That's usually signs of some sort of development, an area trying to develop. And we're going to look at high pressure to follow steering currents, because blue areas cannot enter red areas, and they go around red areas. So I have not even looked at the overnight euro. I saved the excitement for you all. And right now, nothing. A little bit of juice, possibly, coming across. But no. Nothing really showing on the euro as far as the main operational run yet. Oh, you can see the little vorticity right here on Tuesday of next week. You can kind of follow it along. There it is. And the main run kind of keeps it chugging along into the Caribbean. Still got my eyes on what's coming next. That's too far away to talk about. But yesterday there was signs of a big old wave plopping off of Africa in about a week plus. But the area we're watching, we're going to see if there's any sort of sign of this little guy right here. This is the area that some of the ensembles are showing development middle of next week. Very weak signature on the latest euro. So that's good news. Look at that big old low pressure in the northeast. Anybody in the northeast? That's signs of a pretty significant storm system possibly for the northeast. Next Tuesday, next Wednesday. Look at that. Holy cow. Look at that bad boy. So yeah, look at that. First part of next week, man. Monday and Tuesday of next week. There's a big old northeast. Look at that. 991 pressure. That's pretty low for this time of year. 989 over Maine. All right, so there's nothing on the euro. Let's look at yesterday's 12Z and see if there was anything on yesterday's. Little low pressure area, kind of entering, but a little bit of sign of something here. So yeah, whatever. I'm just stuck in. I didn't even know what the hell that was. All right, but we're gonna look at high pressure for next week. You can kind of see a lot of dry air out there. As far as steering currents go, let's go to next Wednesday. If something was out here developing, starting to see that connection that we talked about with the high pressures. So likely whatever's out here would just keep on trucking west-northwest. There's a high pressure still showing. And that high pressure into next Friday. So remember, timing would be anything that were to develop would be the following weekend, not this weekend coming up, but the weekend after. And you can see that high pressure. We're starting to see a little break here, which would allow some sort of a bend up maybe. But that's really hard to predict that far out. There's the overnight 00Z for 10 days from now, showing you pretty much the same thing. But as you can see with all the ensemble members for the Euro, you can see that we start to see many of the ensembles showing development here next Wednesday. Each one of these little brighter colors is a different system that's starting to develop. The brighter and oranger they become, the stronger they are. And you can see that they, here's Monday, Tuesday next week. There's our wave. So really our wave is kind of plopping off almost now. Almost now. So we'll keep an eye on anything coming off of Africa now. You can see the cluster right here. This is Monday morning. And you can just follow along. Some of them develop it. Look at that big old cluster coming in behind. Holy cow. But steering patterns, this is what the system that we're seeing out there now. There was a break in the high pressure system. But now we're seeing high pressure system locked in later next week, meaning anything that were developed here would have more of a chance to go west-northwest, even into the Gulf or East Coast. So that's the trend. I mean, that's the trends we saw yesterday. And, there's a lot of other factors, obviously. You look at wind shear and dust, but we already saw one time this year it was humans versus models, and guess what? Models won. Models are usually pretty smart. All right. That's that. Let's look at the operational GFS and see what the latest 6Z shows. And as we go into the weekend, really nothing. Very weak signature here, but nothing organized. Last night 00Z. Maybe a little bubble here. So, that's nothing solid yet. You can follow here. This is next Tuesday, Wednesday, next week. You can see it. Maybe. So, yeah. Icon. There's our little wave entering the islands possibly Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So, that's that. I mean, there's really nothing. Canadian's usually aggressive. It's really showing the wave next week. This is not the one we're watching. This is that big old blob coming off of, well, maybe it is. Hold on a minute. It is. Never mind. It's just a little slower. Here's next Wednesday. So that is the way we're watching. So the Canadian model is a little more aggressive, showing development and putting it around here Wednesday of next week. So we do have one model showing that. It only goes out 10 days, so it slows it down a lot. So there you go. Canadian kind of showing it. Let's look at, I haven't really looked at Canadian ensembles. Let's see what they look like. There's quite a few showing long-range development with the Canadian model. Quite a few, actually. So some of the Canadian ensembles are showing it. And look, one last thing here. We'll look at the GFS ensembles and see. Yeah, we already showed that on the other page. So there you go. What's the old radar look like over that way? Let's look at weather nerds here. We'll take a looky. Look at that big old convection here in the middle part of the U.S. Oof. That's the only game in town, man. Middle part. Look at that big old storm system coming in. It's going to be kind of going down southeast today. Some of this energy is going to make it a little more to the southeast by tomorrow. So that's the only thing happening today. But we're still focused. And I guess we got some over there maybe. So there you go. Kind of where we're watching. Next wave coming off. Surface charts sometimes are into got a big old pressure here already showing. Yeah, so it's interesting times. So the UK model came out yesterday with their long-range forecasting, and it was shared a lot over on X. And the UK, like I mentioned yesterday, is still showing an above-average season. Yep, I don't know. There's a couple waves coming off here showing. Yeah, all right. That's all I'm going to talk about that. Just compared to yesterday, we still have pretty good ensemble support that we could see a wave trying to make its way across. It is that time of the year, middle August. You think about these things, they take so long to get over here. Here, meaning where I'm at. Almost 2 weeks we could be watching this thing. Week and a half. 10 days usually is what it takes to make that exit from Africa and make it all the way across. So, hi, Ian Campbell. What's up, buddy? How's it going down there, Miss Bobby? What's going on? Hey, thanks for the virtual chit-chat. Curb's correct. Canadian is the only one showing it. However, lots of ensembles. Robert wants to know about Captain Kangaroo. I really wasn't a big Captain Kangaroo fan, but I did love Bozo the Clown. I look forward to the grand prize game every day, throwing ping pongs into buckets. It was early form of beer pong. Bozo the Clown could be responsible for that generation in beer pongs. The grand prize game was the original beer pong. The grand prize game, Mary Kay. Somebody wants to know, should South Florida keep an eye on this? Well, listen, right now it's not anything. It's not even this. But yeah, looking at El Nino years, Lord, I've talked about it a bunch. It just seems like El Nino years, storms have a more tendency to pop up more north of the Caribbean and make more of a Southwest Atlantic trek. So until I start to see some more official mentions of it, I'm not going to get too worked up about posting anything about it. Like I said, we tease a lot here on the Brew Crew and the Daily Brew because that's what we do. Before I forget, I want to look at dust, because it looked like the dust peters out around. Oh no, it's not working. It does this sometimes. Maybe 00Z worked. Okay, so usually what happens is the dust starts to peter out about right here as the season. It starts getting less and less deep as time marches on in August. So the time frame we're looking at is next week. So let's look at see, it's starting to peter out a little bit. This is August 11th. So this time next week there would definitely be some dust in the middle part of the atmosphere. That's probably why the Euro's having this thing struggle a little bit until it reaches maybe past the Caribbean. So 10 days from now, well, this is the 11th. Doesn't quite go out 10 days. This is yesterday's run. This is the 11th, so 9 days out. You can see here that once it gets past this, then it might have a better opportunity because the dust is starting to not make that trek west like we saw a week or two ago. So that makes sense why the models are showing development more here than here. And if you look at history, there's our history for the month of August. And you can see most of the action begins really close to the Caribbean. And you can see that with the storm tracks for August, almost following the exact same historical path for August. Development chances a little bit more closer to the Caribbean. Wind shear for that time frame. Let's look at that. Let's look at the Euro. Euro does really good with upper level winds. I don't think I'm going to be able to look at this. I think you have to stretch it out. Basically, you got to do the whole Caribbean. All right, so let's look at next Wednesday. Sometime about right here. So you can get a little bit of wind shift to the north. Next Thursday, next Friday. This is a week from Thursday. Next following week. Not too bad. You do have this shear coming down from the north. So not the worst shear area. I mean, 20 to 30 knots is not ideal, but it's not in the 30-40 range like you see in the yellow. So not the worst conditions. And that changes a lot, these shear forecasts. But if it does pull a little bit north, it could have a little bit lighter winds nearing the following weekend. So just kind of keeping a track of that. You can see the typical winds here blowing in to the Caribbean that normally keeps Western Atlantic or Western Caribbean less active during El Nino years because of increased wind shear across that area. So like I said before, history shows that during El Nino years, this is the area to watch. We have more storms figure out a way to get up here than they do down here. And that could mean, the Bermuda high is a little bit more displaced off to the northeast, is my theory. But we'll see. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let me pull up my image I did, and we'll drink some coffee together. Hey, Katie, Haley, MJO. Hey, that's a good idea. We have looked at, yeah. Talk about rain, Shelly. We had rain, and it's clouding up now. Our yard has become swamp. Like, there's no point even trying to mow it right now because it would end up being bad. All right, so vertical winds. Looking at one MJO component here is shear, and going into middle August. There's middle August. Green usually means more favorable for tropical development, basically, and it is enhanced. So that's showing that any wave that makes it over through the Caribbean would have a better environmental conditions to possibly develop. Let's see if that's, nope, day 11 to day 15. Be more 6-10, 10 days. So it's not really a strong pulse. More neutral. A little bit of suppressed here entering the middle part of August. Interesting. However, that would be more in the Caribbean than not to the Western Atlantic. So more of a neutral on that graphic. And Michael Ventrance has got a great page here, 2-week forecast. And another model, 200 level, showing week 2 a little more favorable. So there's a lot of components to the MJO, but overall, it might be more of an enhanced phase as far as being neutral enhanced in 2 weeks. No huge waves rolling in or overhead. So, but this would be the time frame right here. So I'm glad you asked that, because we haven't really had a lot to talk about in the last with storms out there. So I'll look into it a little bit more. As we get the possibility. All right, so cool. All right, so let's go back to the graphic here. All right. Anyway. Kenneth James, yep, still in a drought, St. Pete. I would think, though, that this week rains that we've had, and today, the rains are expected to build a little more inland and move towards the west coast today. So there could be a little bit of a wind shift helping get a little more west coast rains. Oh, man. Jonathan wants to know about the tide, man. We got a full moon. I saw some videos from your South Carolina area that were a lot of businesses were shut down this morning. We're in the full moon cycle today. So if you got high tides, if you're wondering why the water looks high, it's because of full moon. We are in a full moon. And this month we have 2 full moons. We have one at the end of August too. So kind of rare, 31 days in the month. Obviously, moon cycles are usually monthly, but we got 2 official full moons for the month of August. So the only thing good about a storm coming in 2 weeks at least would be a new moon, and tides wouldn't be. Are tide cycles as high during new moon? Now I sound stupid, but hey, I'll admit it. What's out there? Cop or garbage man. Don't know. I know there's a fisherman out there. I know in full moon we have extremely high tides. Texans. Yeah, new or full moon. So yes, we all learned something new. So it would not be in a good spot in 2 weeks. We'd be at a new moon. Higher during new moons. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, new moon. Thank you, Edwin. So we would be technically right around a new moon if we were to get anything in 2 weeks. Just a little bit of added adventure. Security camera just went off, but that was a garbage man. Interesting. All right, well, there's that. All right, so let's go back to the same graphic we're going back to. So what does this mean right here? So let's talk about this right now. So a lot of folks asking all the time, what the heck does El Nino mean in the wintertime? So this graphic is put out by National Weather Service, all of these graphics. I put them all together so it's easy to read. But typically, El Nino, let me see, I have a graphic here. There it is right here. So when you have a winter La Nina, the jet stream's a little farther south. The polar jet stream is a little farther south, creating a gap. Drier air across southeast, colder, wetter up north because the jet stream dips down farther south. Because we're in El Nino, we have a extended, they call it a Pacific jet stream, which is kind of your subtropical jet stream that's still coming in from those warm waters of the Pacific. And what that does, it creates a wetter, cooler south and especially southeast because the jet stream is now over the Gulf of Mexico in Florida. What this means is it's bad for Florida. This is so we're looking at the bottom right here. Florida flood events during strong El Nino years far exceed any other years of El Nino, La Nina, neutral years. So if we are in a strong El Nino, which it's kind of expected to be during the winter months, shows you Florida flood events are way above normal, almost 4 to 5 times above normal. 3 to 4 times above normal because of the amount of rain pumped in from that jet stream. The bigger story, though, is tornadoes. So Florida tornadoes during El Nino events had 248. This is 1950 to 2009, this data. During a La Nina year, 136. El Nino years, 248. So almost 100 more tornadoes during El Nino years than La Nina years. And strong El Nino years far surpasses any other type of weather event. So, weak El Nino 86, moderate El Nino 39, strong El Nino 123. So the bottom line is El Nino brings a lot of instability to the upper atmosphere because of the way the jet stream is farther south. More Gulf energy is used to fuel storms. So almost like you see in the spring when you see dipping jet streams, all this Gulf juice, and you have Tornado Alley. It almost makes a whole spring time scenario all back to southeast Florida here with storms coming in off the Gulf. So that's, people ask me all the time, what does El Nino mean? El Nino usually means it's bad for Florida in the winter. Bottom line. There's a good article I shared. A lot of these graphics are on here. This is from the National Weather Service talking about the El Nino effects. Precipitation anomalies for El Nino years. So El Nino precipitation for California is higher too. But look at the southeast precipitation anomalies, meaning way above average across the south and the east here for El Nino winters. Temperature differences during El Nino winters. Look, green is below normal, yellow is above normal. So with that jet stream now farther south, cooler winters because of El Nino across the south and basically everybody, California to Florida. There's a graphic I showed there. There's some other stuff showing strong El Nino in 97, 98. Unfortunately, that was a lot of bad weather that year. 97, 98, we had those big tornadoes. There was 20 EF2 plus tornadoes in 97, 98. 20 EF2 pluses in the south here in Florida. That's a lot for us. Hey, and all your flooding rains. So there you go. Want to share that. I get that asked a lot. A little tidbit for the day. And of course, here's the latest forecast for El Nino. We are expected in the months of November, December, January to be 90-some% chances of an El Nino. So that red means El Nino. How many times can I say El Nino in 1 hour? And here's the range, the average, mean, pretty much where everything's at. Expected to be around 1.5, which puts us in a moderate to strong El Nino for wintertime. This is their neutral mean, 0, half a degree, 1 degree, 1.5 degree or Celsius. So, as I say, we will see. We will see. But there you go. People want to ask, what does El Nino mean for Florida? Bad. Cool, man. It's almost turtle time. Let's look at models for today. I got to make sure we're not going to be painting in the damn rain. I'm still keeping my colonoscopy on standby. what's more important, tracking storms or the other? I think tracking storms is more up my speed. Radar today, you'll start to see them bubbling. This is about early afternoonish. They'll start to bubble here a little bit in Jacksonville, middle part of the state. Few on the over around Naples, Fort Myers area. They start to get a little more intense throughout the day here towards the evening, and they just kind of hang around. So there you go. There's your big strong line this afternoon. And they kind of push their way a little bit. Not a strong flow today, but overall coverage. I kind of like this map. I used to not like it, but now I like it. This kind of shows you the coverage today on who can get what. So you can see high concentration. West Central is still kind of dry, but all across Interstate 75 there, all the way down to the Everglades. This is your main areas today for rain across Florida. Everybody else is pretty dry. A little bit in Georgia. Bury me in Georgia. I think we got some rain in Georgia. Let's take a look. Not to exclude our Georgians. Is that what you call yourselves? Georgians? Yeah, you got a little bit. There's that big old blob up north. But yeah, look at around Savannah and stuff. You guys are going to get a little too. So there you go. Southeast Georgia going to get some into Savannah area and Brunswick area. So there's your rain today. Little pop-ups here and there, but heaviest chance of rain actually is showing up. But across Florida there. So there's your rain today. Tomorrow, not a lot tomorrow. Tomorrow looks very dry. Not seeing a lot for tomorrow. There's that big old blob coming through. So I guess the weather story tomorrow for Thursday is that stuff we're watching today pushes its way down through the Carolinas tomorrow. Might make its way into Georgia tomorrow. There you go. This is tomorrow. This is this. Where is this? I don't even have US up here. So that is this. Boom. So all this here heads this way through tomorrow. The blob. The blob. The blob. The blob's coming. Run for the blob. Hide from the wind. Blood. Run from the blob. Blob, blob, blob. So anyway, that's it. A little bit something to look at and look at the future. As far as potential models, things are kind of quiet, but models are kind of sniffing the next wave coming off Africa. So let's see what happens in the afternoon model runs. If the trends continue, that wave is going to be plopping off into the Atlantic soon enough. And we will see timing of this thing. Let's take a look. So somewhere around here would be next Wednesday-ish. Is that how you spell ish? Looks like wish. Looks like wish. It's supposed to be win. Here, let's start over. All right. We'll make it look good. So it's Wednesday-ish. More like Thursday, probably. Let's do it again. This would be more like Thursday-ish. Thursday-ish. So it'd be more like Monday, Tuesday-ish is here. Man, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'll leave it up here. Let's pull it up one more time just to show everybody what we've been tracking in consistency is getting a little more confident that we're seeing a wave that could be nearing the continental U.S. a week from next week, the weekend following this weekend. So, anyways, what else is going on? Kenneth wants to blob. What's up, Mr. James Fort? How are you doing today, sir? Shelly, I saw a couple of cruise requests for our chat. Are we up? We had a couple new people, it looks like. Ron, I love it. Rebuttal. Mary Carol, I am not giving up my storm chasing. Sorry. This ass has to wait. Maybe I can do it in between. That was my dad's Father's Day present because he's been on my ass literally to get one. So that was my present to him. I made the appointment. So it's pretty amazing when you get so old. We went to Cody's last night. We had a great time, by the way. I was going to post it, but then I'd get the normal haters that give me crap for posting family stuff. But there's a great picture with the girls, mom and dad. Look at that. There's my mom and dad. I love them to death. They're next to go. But we went to Cody's. It was fun. And we talked about it. The older you get, you run out of gift ideas, man. It's like you reach that golden age when you've given all you can give because you've already given them everything they could possibly want. Last greatest gift I gave my dad was an Alexa. Now he talks to it more than my mom. My mom thinks if she goes first, my dad will probably marry Alexa, if that's even possible. He talks to Alexa more than my mom. But they love the Rays. We talk about the Rays. They love the Rays. It's fun. It's fun. All right, cool. Well, it's been an hour. Really appreciate everybody watching us. And today was kind of a non-weather day, but I hope you learned a little bit with El Nino in Florida. I thought that was fascinating. Might do a little TikTok on that later. That's it. How about it? All right. Well, we're going to go do painting. I'll keep everybody up to date on the painting of the turtle. I'm pretty anxious on the 12Z models to see what happens. Let's see if we have something to track next week as this thing is starting to show up more and more. So confidence is about 51%. A little more than neutral. All right, we'll be live tomorrow, same time, same place, 9:19. Make sure you follow along all the social media channels, X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Make sure you check out our MWP Gear Store. We really appreciate the support there. Remember, I have an app. A lot of folks love the app. You can subscribe to it monthly and cancel anytime. It's on Apple and Android, Mike's Weather page. I do send out notifications, and there's some exclusive stuff on there. And there you go. All right. Have a great day. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Cheers.